Hi, I'm Latrina Patrick with Vision University. That is my online platform designed to help you become the best version of yourself. We use a mind, body, and spirit approach, and we are focusing on your mind as we educate you about the ABCs of grant writing. Today, we are up to the letter F, and we are going to talk about why you need to have what we call a fundable program in order to be successful as a grant writer. And what that means to have a fundable program is that it has to be something that it's important to have a program that funders want to fund. So just because you have a specific focus, if what you're doing doesn't inspire or compel funders to invest, it really doesn't make that big a difference. So you want to make sure that it's fundable. So how do you know that it's fundable? What makes a program fundable? Well, it's fundable if you have demonstrated a need, and these are going to tie into the things that we've spoken about up until we got to the letter F. So all the things I've been laying the foundation for speak to things that make your program fundable. So you want to have demonstrated a need. That need has been justified. You've shown the data, the research, and shows that this is not something that we're just assuming is an issue, but we can validate and justify that this is indeed an issue. So that helps to make it fundable. And it has been proven to work. I've spoken about the importance of data and being data driven. And as a part of the compelling narrative we spoke about with the letter C, I talked about having research based approaches. So whatever you're doing for your program, whatever you're implementing, it needs to be research based. Funders want to invest in things that they know have a track record of working and being successful, because then they're more certain about getting a return on their investment because they're investing in something that has been proven to work and to be successful. And also, this is really important, is that there is community buy-in and that you have other community partners. So you don't want to ask funders to invest in something that the people in your own community are not invested in. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's giving you money. Money helps, and it does help if they are contributing that way. But what type of partners are at the table? How are they invested in your program? Are they making referrals to your program? Is a local school allowing you to use their facility as donating space for you to use without charging you a fee? Or are you able to get kids into the program? Like, what are things that you can show that demonstrate your community has bought in to what it is that you're doing? Have you had the pillars of the community and the local leaders supply letters of support and letters of commitment that demonstrate that they support what you're doing? Funders are looking for these types of things because you don't want to go to a funder asking for funds and resources for something that your local community isn't as invested in. So those are things that you need to be thinking about. And most importantly, what makes you fundable is that you have a sound and fiscally responsible organization. So let's talk about what that means to be fiscally responsible. It means that you have a balanced budget and you're using sound accounting principles. Even if you're a smaller nonprofit, whatever funds you do have, you want to make sure that you can demonstrate that you are being a good steward of those funds. And so it's not just, someone just keeping your budget on an Excel spreadsheet. You want to have someone who is ensuring that your organization, your nonprofit, is doing the things that the IRS requires for them to do. So you want to make sure that you can demonstrate that you have sound accounting principles in place, preferably a certified public accountant or someone who is really trained in this area to make sure that you're on track to be successful financially. And it helps to have diverse funding streams. And I know that smaller nonprofit organizations oftentimes don't have a lot, and so they depend a lot on getting grants. But even if you don't have a lot, you still should be able to demonstrate that you have diverse funding streams, because even as a nonprofit and you have a 501c3 designation by the IRS, you are still required to have only a portion of your funding coming from grants. You can't be 100% grant dependent. That's really a violation of the tax code. So you need to have other sources of income. And that's another training, but that's one way that they can determine whether or not you're fiscally responsible. If you just have soft money, which is what grant money is referred to because it's temporary, if all you have is soft money, then you're not really in a position to show that you are fiscally responsible. And then also that you have the funding on hand to initiate the implementation of your programming. And I know that sounds weird because you're applying for funding to implement your program, but the majority of grants, unless they're smaller grants from foundations that are 10, 15, 20,000 or less, I've even been a part of a nonprofit where we even got up to $100,000 as a certified check delivered in the mail, express mail. So, but there are certain grants and certain funders that will send you a check because it's not a relatively large amount of money and just wish you well and not require a lot. But for the most part, most grants are reimbursable, especially when you start going after big money and Fed money and state money. That money is not going to come to you in a check. It's going to be reimbursed to you after you begin the process of implementing your program. And so if that's the case, federal fundings for sure want to make sure that you have money on hand to be able to operate your program for at least the first 3 months and to be able to pay your staff and to get the resources you need to implement the program at full capacity. So if you're not in a position to do that, then you definitely don't want to be applying for Fed money because you will need funding on the front end to be able to start implementing the program. So they're looking at those things. And if you can't demonstrate that fiscal responsibility, you are limiting your ability to get grant funds. And then finally, you want to make sure that your program is sustainable. If you have a sustainable program, that makes your program a lot more fundable and attractive to funders. So that means that you can demonstrate that the program can be sustained beyond the life of the grant. The last thing a funder wants to do is to give you money to get your program off the ground just for your program to pack up and end at that when the grant period runs out. That's not a sustainable program. And so that's why you want to make sure you have those community partners at the table, because real community partners are going to make sure that your program will be around for the long haul, regardless of whether they can give you funding to help you do that or not. But they may bring resources to the table or partner with you on certain things. But you need to be able to demonstrate that your program is going to be around beyond that grant cycle. Funders, and then the community partners invested. Community partners are always a good thing because, again, they can demonstrate to your funder that they are in it with you and they will do what they need to do to help you ensure the program is around and ensure that the program is successful. So when you have all those factors in place, that is a demonstration that your program is sustainable, and it also is an indication that you are a worthy investment, because at the end of the day, you are an investment to that funder, whether that's a private funder, a foundation, or the federal government, but they want to get a good return on that investment. So these are the things that you need to consider when you are applying for funding, because they're going to up your chances of being successful, and it's going to stop you from wasting a lot of valuable time and energy you put into preparing that proposal. If you know on the front end that you aren't really fundable, that's going to save you a lot of time and heartache. So these are the things you need to be thinking about. Now, if you like more information or more grant writing tips, I encourage you to do a couple of things. First and foremost, I have a live webinar that's coming up on March 17th. It's called Grant Writing 101, the art of the skill. And I go in depth into the necessary skills required to be successful as a grant writer. Because if you think it's just about your ability to write, it's not. So that webinar is going to give you some really valuable insights. So it's going to be offered from 1 to 2 p.m. and also from 7 to 8 p.m. And you need to register to attend. It's free, but you do need to register and reserve your particular slot. And you can also subscribe to my weekly email updates. Just go to my website at visionuniversity.com. And when you sign up to subscribe, you get a free ebook that's going to also give you a little more information about how to be successful with grant writing. It's geared towards beginners, so make sure you get your free gift there. And then, of course, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Vision University. That's the YouTube channel, and that's where you'll find more videos like these available to you on that site. So you have tons of ways that you can stay in touch with what I'm doing and the information that we're putting out. Now, in the meantime, I hope that you will remember to create the vision for the life that you desire and you deserve, because you are the only one who can.